First of all, thank you for all being patient and waiting. Sorry, we just had to make sure the trade call went through and all was good. First of all, I just want to thank our pro scouts, Jim Clark, Mike Abamont, and John Perpich for all their help today. I think without them, I don't think a lot of these trades would be made. Second of all, I want to thank Randy Lee, our assistant GM, Daniel Alfredson, and Brian Murray, who I was on the phone with probably more than anyone else today. So thank you all. Sometimes it's about the GM, but a lot of the people around help make all these trades possible.
Pierre Gord from TSN 1200. Can you just walk us through the most recent news of the trade on Curtis Lazar?
Yeah, something that was very difficult, I think, for us as an organization, for me personally. We all saw that it wasn't working out with Curtis this year. Whether it was the mono to start off, maybe it was behind the eight ball the whole year. We saw that it just wasn't. He wasn't the same player that he'd been in the past. We just felt that giving him a fresh start, new opportunity, and at the same time we were looking to improve our defensive depth and adding a high pick in this draft. I felt bad over the last few weeks giving away picks, for good assets in this organization. But our new chief scout, Trent Mann, was pretty happy about adding a second-round pick in this draft. And we still feel that this draft might not be the deepest, but we feel in the top two rounds that we're going to get two NHL players down the road.
Pierre, Brent Wallace from TSN. Aside from you trying to trade me, are you a better team today, and did you address all the needs you were hoping to over the last couple of days?
Yeah, I feel we're a better hockey team today than we were maybe a few weeks ago. I think sometimes, whether you believe in signs or not, I think we talked internally about making sure we had 8 NHL defensemen for our run. And when we all saw Boro go down, he's playing tomorrow. There's no panic, no injury. We just said maybe that's a sign for us. Our coach felt it was a sign. He was running down my office after practice, and him and Mark and I talked about when Colorado won the Cup. Now we're going back a few years. I think they used 11 or 12 defensemen in the playoffs, and our first goal is to make the playoffs. We'll see whatever happens after, but I think we've addressed a lot of our needs. I think if you start back when we acquired Tommy Wingels, it was something we were looking to do. Then you add the character and I think the playing ability of Alex Burrows. We gave up a good prospect. Like, Canuck fans are going to have a good player down the road whenever he comes over. Victor Stahlberg is someone that our scouts have been high on for a while, and we all know his playoff experience and his speed and the way Guy explained to me that he slashes and dashes, and I think he'll fit well in our system. And today adding Yoki Paka as someone that we know is an NHL guy. He's played some games, and it's not that we don't have faith in their kids in the minors. Like, there are 2 defensemen there that I know are going to play here for a long time, in Andreas Englund and Ben Harper. And there's also Patrick Sailoff that's having a good year down there. And we know we all have Thomas Chabot coming up, but Thomas Chabot probably wouldn't be able to join us till the month of May. And you don't want to put those guys in playoff games. It's not fair towards them because they can't have the success that you're looking to have. And hopefully we get to the playoffs, and hopefully we don't have to play our 7th or 8th defenseman. But reality is a lot of times you have to do it.
Yeah, Pierre, just to get back to Lazar, I mean, it must be very difficult trading a 22-year-old former first-round pick. The gamble that he becomes something that maybe you thought he was going to become here. That's the first question. How do you weigh that? And the second part is, did the expansion draft weigh into this at all?
No, today, I've said from the get-go, every trade you make, you think about expansion, but we know what we're probably going to do in expansion, but things could change in the next month and a half before the end of the year or until the end of the year. So that part really was not something for us to consider. And for sure, Curtis, I remember the day we drafted him in New Jersey, and I remember how well he played for us in our playoff run a few years back when he was on line with Eric Condor and Pajot, and they were a big key for us having that success. But at this point in time this year, I'm not sure he would have gotten in the lineup. And I think we owe it sometimes to the players, and sometimes we forget that they're families and they're human beings, and sometimes as much as they get paid a lot of money, I was just talking to Alex Burrows today, and he was telling me that his wife and kids stayed back in Vancouver. And sometimes you feel you got to do the right thing. First and foremost, the organization is what we have to think about, but at times you have to think about the individual. And I think Curtis is going to get a good chance to blossom in Calgary. I think he's got a coach that knows him there in Dave Cameron. And, if he turns out to be as good as we thought he was going to be, well, good for him, good for the Flames. Hopefully with that second round pick and whatever Yoki Paka gives us, it can help us too.
Still with Lazar, how long did it seem to go till the end of the day? So how much activity, I guess, was there on Curtis? And were you, I guess, just holding out, hoping for more, or was this just a deal that came through at the end?
It was a deal. I remember I was talking to Curtis at about $250, and next thing I knew, it was on TV. So I wanted him to hear it from me. I felt it was the right thing to do. A young player's given a lot to this organization. I just felt that it was the right thing to do, that he heard it from me, and I know that it was going to leak everything. Everyone finds out everything. So as far as was there a lot leading up to it, there were many teams on it today. And at the end of the day, at about $240 or so, this was the best offer we had. And this was an offer that we really liked because we added an early pick in the draft, and we improved our depth on the fence. Were two things we're looking to do today.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about players who are still on other teams, but how much activity was there, I guess, with Colorado?
Can't talk about players on other teams, Brent. If Sarah was asking me the question, I might answer it.
I thought we were tight.
Pierre, Frédéric de TVA Sport. Peut-être en français, évidemment, un mot sur Curtis Lazar qui nous a dit un peu plus tôt que c'était un geste très selfless de votre part de l'échanger, que c'était une bonne chose pour lui. Aussi la part de Burroughs et le bilan de cette journée en général.
Pour nous, c'est pas facile d'échanger quelqu'un, une aussi bonne personne que Curtis Lazar, mais au moment donné, on ne savait pas où est-ce que Curtis était pour jouer dans notre alignement cette année. Et on a pris la décision que pour son développement, c'était peut-être la meilleure chose qu'il aille en quelque part d'autre. On a pu répondre à nos besoins à nous, ajouter un choix de bonheur, un choix de deuxième ronde, en plus d'améliorer notre profondeur à la défense. Donc, c'est deux choses qu'on a regardé à faire, et on a pu combler ces besoins-là. Juste pour répondre aux questions, pour nous, on sent que notre équipe est meilleure aujourd'hui qu'elle était il y a quelques semaines. On est prêt pour faire cette poussée pour les séries et maintenant avoir 8 défenseurs du calibre de la Ligue nationale, en plus d'avoir ajouté des éléments comme Alex Burrows, puis Victor Stahlberg, puis Tommy Wingles. On sait qu'on a des bons éléments en place pour espérer avoir du succès aussi dans les séries. Burrows, pour moi, c'est un travail d'équipe. Depuis le début, j'ai vraiment je travaille avec des gens excellents. Mais je peux vous dire, de tous les échanges que j'ai faits depuis que je suis directeur-gérant, l'échange de Burroughs, c'est celui qui me remplit le plus. Pouvoir acheter quelqu'un de la trempe d'Alex Burroughs à notre équipe, pour notre but qu'on veut atteindre, c'est quelque chose que je pense qui a été un très grand bénéfice à notre organisation.
Sylvain Saint-Laurent du Droit. Est-ce que peut-être un des problèmes de Curtis dans la dernière année, c'est qu'il y a eu de la difficulté à trouver une place ou un rôle défini au sein de l'équipe?
Oui, ça se pourrait quelque chose. Tu sais, je pense cette année, avec la mono qu'il y a eu en début d'année, tu sais, je pense qu'il a toujours été un pas en arrière des autres. Puis de trouver être sur la même longueur d'onde que tous ses autres coéquipiers, des fois, c'était peut-être un peu plus difficile. Mais je pense que Curtis va devenir un très bon joueur dans la Ligue nationale. Et puis, des fois, c'est des décisions difficiles à prendre. Mais pour lui, on lui souhaite la meilleure chance. Puis, c'est de valeur que ça n'a pas fonctionné ici.
Marc Brassard du Droit. Est-ce que l'agent de Curtis avait demandé une transaction 2 semaines quand tu l'as rencontré? Puis, s'il a effectivement demandé, est-ce que ça a été influencé?
J'ai dit, demande pas une transaction. Il n'a pas demandé une. C'est comme ça que la conversation a commencé ce soir-là. Il a dit peut-être est-ce que son rôle pourrait être plus défini dans l'équipe. Je vais m'en parler avec mon entraîneur, mais pour dire qu'il a demandé une transaction telle quelle, ces mots-là sont jamais venus de sa bouche.